Welcome back. I think we're on episode 12 today, officially. Thanks for you guys that are coming to watch again. Appreciate the love and support. We look to keep on growing this family in the XFL Insider podcast. Before we actually get to go into the show, I want to introduce contributor Avión Plummer again. Avión, how's it going, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm very good, very good. Ready to talk a little bit of XFL today. I got an interview at the end to stream with Shane, but in the meantime, you got a few topics we can discuss, I feel like, and get some good information out to everyone at home.
Absolutely. A lot of news in the XFL this week.
Yeah, it was a pretty exciting past couple weeks, no doubt, with the IFL Combine going, as well as hearing some news about people actually signing NFL teams. It's been a great week for the league. Let's just go ahead and jump right into it, man.
Let's do it.
All right. Avión, so before we get started, I know we did our interview. I kept calling you Avión. I wanted to address that on air. I apologize. I really do the best we can with the names here.
But no, it's okay. It took my grandmother 15 years to pronounce my name correctly, so no worry about
it. No worries, man. All right, so let's talk about the players that have been signed to the NFL from the XFL. We're running about 45 total now. Is that correct?
Yeah, around 45 total to date. We had a lot of in the XFL players who signed with the NFL teams, especially for to the Atlanta Falcons, which is huge. So it's a lot of good names out there, that got the opportunity and now are taking the opportunity to the big leagues.
No doubt, no doubt. Now on screen, I've got the official list from XFL. It is updated and accurate, so just scrolling through it. Maybe people at home are watching. Biggest name on here, man. I mean, I know you see me wearing my Saints gear today, right? John Trey Kirkland, my guy. He made it to the Saints down in New Orleans. Excited to watch him. Actually heading for a practice tomorrow as media. Get to approach him, talk to him, get some videos and pictures and updates. So look forward to that greatly down in New Orleans. Yeah. Any other names on here that are big to you?
Yeah, you just named him. Kirkland was one of the best wide receivers before injury. But he was dominating the league with the Roughnecks. I think one of the big ones for me is Abel Smith. It took him quite a while to get signed. Got a couple of invites through the offseason. To have the Minnesota Vikings pick him up and to compete for a roster spot, I think is huge. We had like Matthew Sexton signed with the Atlanta Falcons, another one. And all around, we have a lot of good signings. We're going to see how these guys do first preseason. But, a lot of good names out there.
No doubt, no doubt. And what I've noticed about this, too, is the XFL is really doing a good job at updating these graphics and such now. There at first, it was kind of like we were finding out a lot of our information from Twitter.
Yeah.
Now they're staying ahead. We're getting some actually good stuff to look at amongst fans and engagement.
Yeah, I think the XFL did a great job, communication side, just getting it out there, tagging the players in their posts, and make sure we know how to find those players, and just basically saying that, hey, we support you, and this is what we preach about opportunities. So I'm glad that XFL is doing this, and it's giving the fans and XFL players all something to be excited for.
Yes, sir. No doubt. It makes me excited seeing these guys make it, regardless of if they stay or not. It's just like me being down here local to New Orleans. Uh, this is going to give me great reason to watch my Saints play.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Abram
Kirkland is
Smith
one hell of a
looks
player.
good.
Yep.
I'm excited. I think he's got the opportunity to do some big things there. Uh, he signed with the Vikings. If people at home don't know, that should be a successful spot for him, considering Dalvin Cook is no longer with that team.
Yeah, and Alexander Madison has been dealing with some injuries issues this camp, so it's going to give Abram some more reps. The Minnesota Vikings are probably going to limit Madison this preseason. I'm gonna be kind of surprised if he play at all, but look to Abram Smith to get some second half carries, some more touches throughout the preseason.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now that's what's funny here is John Trey is New Orleans, and that's my team, and then Abram went to the Vikings, and that's your team. Pretty
Yeah,
ironic how it worked out, bro.
yeah. Got two of the best, I would say two of the best players in the XFL going through teams that are stable and in a good environment. You got the New Orleans Saints that have a history of having great skill position players, and all around good team. And the Minnesota Vikings came off a playoffs appearance to have a backup running back that can help carry the load is always going to be helpful.
Yes, sir. Agreed. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. Congrats to the guys that are signing. There will be more, I'm sure. We're still having injuries pop up from NFL training camps daily.
Yeah,
So I'm sure there will be more. I mean, literally I'm hearing at least I feel like I'm hearing at least two career season injuries a day almost coming out of camps. Not necessarily, but very close to that. So I think
yeah,
there'll be
it's
opportunities there for everybody to show out and show up, and regardless if not, we'll
yeah,
see them back at home with their teams next year, like normal.
absolutely.
All right, so let's move on, dude. Let's talk a little bit about 8-1. There was a lot of hoopla. There was a lot of hoopla and engagement regarding this topic. Personally, I was hoping we'd look at the schedule or at least some scheduling in terms of like maybe the championship or the playoffs. But instead, we got the season tickets. Now, when I say season tickets, I know they are available for purchase from most markets, but in Houston and Vegas, you're still actually having to put a deposit down and wait. You
Yeah.
got any feedback on these topics?
Just it's what we expected. With the renovations and what's going on with the down in Houston. For us, we can look at it as a good thing because they're upgrading like the stadium. Making to new facilities and everything around it. So there's reports about them going to Rice Stadium and or other stadiums. So we got to keep an eye on that. The Vegas situation is mystery. We're still waiting for news on that. Whether they're going to readjust Cashman Field, to make it, I guess more presentable. But it's just a wait and see, and hopefully the XFL put out some communication, some information before the season starts, and not like a couple weeks before. So
Exactly.
hopefully we'll hear something soon.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, that was when the announcement first dropped. That was one of the things I did was I was like, okay, let's see if I want to buy tickets for DC, let me go through all the way to the process and see if I can do it. You can pick your seats for DC. You can grab your ownership of that seat for the season. But as you go to the Vegas page here, you can see we're TBD on playing venue, and then we can only put the deposit down on seats. So I
Yeah,
don't know if they're contacting people afterwards or what, but just wanted to bring up this topic. It's not necessarily a bad thing. We got plenty of leadway and plenty of time to address all of these concerns, and the fact that they're still getting positive feedback with this is a good indication of fan engagement for next year.
yeah, absolutely. And this is some of the things we've been harping on. Communication. Giving information out to the fan base. Not keeping them waiting. And so far they've done very well. Like I said, we got to wait and see, but I like what I'm seeing. Again, it's all about the time schedule. When are
Yep.
they going to give us this information? So that's really important.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're waiting patiently for that schedule. I know I am myself.
Absolutely.
I mean, in terms of matchups, is there anything you're hoping to see specifically this year, Avion?
Man, I'm interested to see once I figure out who's going to be the starting quarterback. A lot of teams, like Sea Dragons, this is going to be interesting as well. But I would say I want to see that rematch of Arlington and DC. Mostly they got all the guys coming back from quarterback standpoint, and it's going to be a fight. So it's we want to see what Bob Stoops kick up, and we're going to see what Greg Williams on the defensive side. What areas he's going to address in that secondary that struggled the second half of the season. So I'm looking towards that.
Agreed. Agreed. Now I got some comments from people. I just want to pop them up. So John here, XFL and NFL are sharing data, making the pickups quicker. I mean, I can agree with that. They're definitely communicating. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
I tell you
I
that
mean
the
that's the
XFL
goal,
and
right?
NFL are just totally separate entities, though. I mean,
Yeah,
to just get these media credentials to be able to attend tomorrow, I mean, that's a big deal, and it was tough. So,
yeah,
yeah, but I feel you though, John. You're right. And Mike's chiming in. Mike says Rice Stadium is being mentioned. Rice is being mentioned, and it's heavily favored, from my opinion. I don't know. It's
hmm
all speculatory. Uh, Rice is close to the stadium there that they played in previous, also, so it wouldn't be too much of a change up in terms of location. It's definitely a different venue, but in terms of location, it's very close to where they were
yeah,
previous.
yeah.
Anyway, man, let's get back into it. While we're talking, I know you said you're curious about who's going to be where. I mean, let's talk about the IFL to XFL Combine. I mean, this is going to be big. We're going to see some of these guys from this combine fill gaps in places that are in need, I'm sure, such as O
Right.
line or D line. What do you think so far coming out? I mean, I know we had around 200 athletes attend. I don't know exactly. This is here. This is from rumors, and this is from things
Mhm.
I've been told. Do you know any precise numbers on that?
It was around 200. What I'm hearing as well. Not confirmation. They kind of been like tight-lipped about the combine, so we get information from here and there. So I think that's around that number. I think you're correct.
Yes, sir. Now, from what I understand, IFL coaches actually picked who they sent to that combine. So, depending on the team, they picked the athletes that were going. Uh,
hmm
it was very well organized, from what I heard. You'll hear Shane; he'll talk more about it at the interview at the end. But it seemed like it went great. It seemed like there was a lot of skill there, and everything there was evaluated correctly, and gave them the resources they needed to really pick who's who amongst these IFL guys.
Absolutely. I think like I said before, a lot of these athletes who went to this combine are D1 level athletes that went to big name schools that have put up good numbers. And I've been very impressed about what I'm hearing, what they've been sharing on their social media. They've been praising the XFL and thanking them for the combine and how they had a good time. So I think all around it was a good experience for all players.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I know you've done a lot of heavy fan research at home. I know you told me a couple days ago. I mean, you were looking at social medias, you were checking pictures, you were nailing away to
Yeah.
find out who was there. How many athletes did you actually research in total for that? Just in general. I mean, you had to do this on your own, so
Yeah. I in total I found around 46 players. Around 46 players. I written down, scouted around 11 players, went through their tapes, their college games, some of their pro games as well. Trying to get more in depth, like their ideals and their player types and everything like that. So it took about 6 hours, about 6 to 7 hours. But thank you to the IFL athletes for sharing their IG stories and letting us know, who was there and who wasn't.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, we have had some communication with those athletes, and we don't want to say anything yet until we get some official uh, official dates on the calendar, but we should have some interviews coming from some of these top athletes. So look for that at home, guys.
Yeah.
So, Avion, tell me, out of the 20, let me hear your top 5. Who do you think was the best of the best amongst these guys?
Well, it's kind of hard to pick the best of the best out of you guys because so much talent out there. But I'm gonna start with number one. Isaac Zico, one of the top prospects coming out of the IFL. He's one of my favorites. Wide receivers. In college he went to Purdue. Caught 43 receptions, 700 yards for 6 touchdowns his senior year.
Wow.
But just exploded in the IFL this past season with 80 receptions, 845 yards, and 21 touchdowns.
Wow.
This guy is a scoring machine. He's not much of a speedster, but he is a great route runner. Got great hands. He can catch the ball in contact, and he's one of those players that one of those dependable receivers that can become a deep threat. He's 6'1", 200 pounds, a good sized receiver. I compare him to Bernard Berrien, the ex Chicago Bear that had a good solid career. He wasn't a speed guy himself, but this guy, Zico, is one of the best wide receivers coming out of this IFL class that's trying to get to the XFL.
Yeah, well, I got the highlights up right now. I mean, he's got
Yeah,
hands, he's got speed, he's got power. I
yeah,
mean,
this
he's
dude
got
is
agility.
this man is absolutely special. And in the right system, I believe a place like San Antonio, would be perfect for him in that system. That they need another deep threat, as well. He can plug him in DC because they lost a lot at receiver as well. This guy can basically fit anywhere in any scheme, slot, outside. Z acts. You know, he has the size for it and the discipline on his routes to move to um any parts of the field. And you see that one-handed catch, man. This guy's got great ball control, concentration. That was against Ohio State, So you know how good those Big Ten defenses are. So yeah, he's something special.
No doubt, no doubt. Excited to see where he ends up, no doubt. Even if it's not, like I said, XFL, I mean, he's definitely got the skill to be somewhere doing something. Look at
I
this.
mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane, you know, it's going to be interesting to see. He wants to be on the big stage. He wants this opportunity, and he's meant to be on the big stage. I believe he got a lot more to prove, but under the right system in the XFL, under the right coach, um, this guy could be a steal.
Yes, sir. Agreed. Appreciate that take. I look forward to seeing where Isaac ends up and watching him play next year.
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead. Let's move on to our next athlete, man.
Yeah, this is another one of my personal favorites is Rivers. Play defensive back, play for the Green Bay Blizzards. He went to about Vendosta State senior year at around 61 tackles. This guy's a tackling machine, man. This guy flies across the field. He's the most physical defensive back I ever seen. My player comparison of him is like a taller Bob Sanders slash Roy Williams of the Cincinnati Bengals. People forget about Roy Williams. He was one of the most physical defensive backs in the NFL.
Yes,
This
sir.
guy got great ball hawking skills. He can fly across the field. He got great awareness. Um, he's he has good speed on him. But he number one, he can also cover the deep ball. DC needs a guy like this, a guy that can fly down the field, track the ball, and beat those speedy receivers like a Tyler Vaughn in Arlington or a Peasy in Seattle.
Yes,
This
sir.
guy is an absolute stud, and look at this guy can knock the ball out.
Very
He's
physical. Very, very
yeah, very,
physical.
very physical guy, and I won't be surprised if he goes in the first round in the draft. This guy can play special teams. This guy know how to punch out the ball, like a Charles Tillman, kind of, in that same category. and he loves contact. And the XFL is a contact physical league, so we need guys like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I
Look at
mean,
that catch,
yeah,
man!
I'm
It's just
seeing it, man. It hops.
oh man, yeah, this guy is special. And and this is what the combine's all about: is finding those missing guys that people miss from these smaller universities. And the fact that scouts miss this man is even wow, you just it's mind boggling, So hopefully he get drafted. Teams, like I said, DC. I know Joey Porter and Hines Ward will love him in San Antonio as well. Vegas needs help in the secondary. He would be
Yep.
perfect as well. So yeah, I know Coach Buck was a DB. He coached Xavier Rhodes, all pro corner already. So having him under Coach Buck will help him a lot in Orlando. So this guy, he can go to multiple teams and help out from day one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Looks good. We're gonna finish up this highlights. Let him do his thing.
Yeah,
Ooh.
this guy just this guy's most physical defensive back. I scouted from this IFL, and it takes talent to be this physical. It takes heart to be this physical, and this guy got it.
Yeah, I
Man,
mean,
this guy got it.
relentless. You could
This
tell.
guy just tracks the ball like right there. It's it's pretty amazing.
Understood. So his time in the Green Bay Blizzard, how long has he played there? Do you know? I'm just curious.
I think it was around two seasons. I
Cool.
try to go back. It's not a lot of information, but
Yeah. No worries.
his stats for the Green Bay his stats for the Green Bay Blizzards for 61 tackles, but Rondosa State senior year his stats for 39 tackles, two interceptions. He's 6'1", 200 pounds, good size defensive back. And at that 6'1" size, he can cover tight ends and to the outside number one receiver. So this guy can plug in. You can plug him in anywhere.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Looks good, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, this is a name I would have never heard if you wouldn't have sent me this information. So great
Yeah,
insight on these guys coming in.
yeah.
Let's move on to our next man.
Next guy, Jay Jackson Williams coming out of FAMU and Florida State. He's one of those project prospects. 6'6", 330 pounds, offensive tackle. Was a tight end actually in JUCO. He was a tight end defensive lineman. During his tight end at JUCO, he caught 17 touchdowns to 700 yards. So he is, a guy who was tight end, got good feet. He reminds me of I know I said Phil Lodeholt earlier, but kind of like a Joe Staley of the 49ers, all pro left tackle. There was a tight end that switched over to left tackle and blossomed. He needs some work. He did struggle against some speed rushers off the line, but under the right coach and with that size and that frame, it is much needed. He could be an all XFL All Pro player in 2 years time. Here we're watching some of his highlights in Tropical Bowl, and he's a tower man, a monster on the edge that can develop to cover your typical pass rushers in the XFL like a Peter of the Vegas Vipers, the XFL MVP. Then um, some teams need a left tackle like that, and especially for last year, the first half of the season, a lot of teams struggled with offensive linemen. Kind of got a little bit better, but he will fit right well in San Antonio.
Yeah, for
Just
sure.
to have block Jack Cohn's on blind side, will be a great plus. He's one of the few offensive tackles that that stood out to me in the IFL Combine, and he has talent. Like I say, he got the size, he got the footwork for it. He gets off the ball. He needs some work. But more time to weight room. This guy should be a beast.
Understood. Understood. We don't want no cozy winners going on.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem.
But yeah, I mean, any team can use him, no doubt. I think, with the exception of maybe DC, everybody needs help up front. So
Yep.
he
Especially in
will
the
be
tackle
picked up.
position.
Yep,
Yep,
no doubt. You
absolutely.
got to be fast and you got to be big. So it's a little tougher of a spot there. especially with these speedy DNs and D tackles that are in the league.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, let's move on to our next man up.
Next one's Byron Cooper. I love this guy. This guy just flashed off my screen. He reminds me of Chris Clemens. He is a speed rusher, gets off the ball. He is the fastest defensive end in the IFL that gets off the snap. He is a sack master. He was fourth in the IFL in sacks. He had around three sacks. He is undersized DN, just 6 foot, 220 pounds, but that's fine. We see a lot of undersized defense end or defense linemen that blossom in the NFL. And in the XFL, NFL, you gotta be versatile. You gotta be quick. And this guy is just a speedster. He's physical. He's a tackle machine, and he's just quick. He's the most quickest player I've ever seen. Here we're watching him, just beating up offensive linemen, and you can tell he's been in the IFL and spring leagues, and you see how he just explodes, and it's something that you need. I would love to see him in some XFL teams like St. Louis. They need some edge rushers, some speedsters on that side of the ball. As St. Louis wasn't too known for pressure at the quarterback, but to have somebody on that defensive front, a rotational player, it can help them out a lot. But this guy is just he is a prospect that in the right under the right defensive scheme, we can look at around 8 to 9 sack guy a season in XFL. Here he just knocks the ball out quick. You know, got good hands too. So it's something that you need. Just like Rivers, he can knock the ball out. And here, a little spin move, a little something that you need. And yeah,
Do you know how old he is? I'm curious on my end. I'm just wondering. I mean, he looks like a freak, man. He's
yeah,
fast.
yeah. It says here, I believe he's 28 years old. I had to double back
Oh,
his
so he's got
age.
plenty of time to
He
to.
got he got he got plenty of time, and this guy just yeah, this guy is good, and to know where to use your hands, spin on that defensive line front. It's not your average like young player rookie. He has some experience. He is seasoned, and he knows how to locate the ball. And it's something that Byron Cooper, I believe, will be picked up either in the second or third round of the XFL draft. Mainly because he is a little bit older player, but for a talent like this, it doesn't really matter, man. It just the first season or second season, this guy you know can average around seven to 8 sacks a season. So he has to gain a little bit more weight. You would love to see your defense end a little bit more bigger. So it'd be interesting to see maybe they might pin on that weak side linebacker position instead. Arlington just lost one of their pro linebackers to the CFL. The Arlington Renegades. So maybe he can plug on that Bob Stoops defense. But yeah, that's the only thing my knock against him. He is, if you're gonna play DN and then in a down stance, you have to be a little bit bigger, not at 220, 225, at least 245 or 250.
Yeah. A player like that seems like he could definitely slide into that linebacker role easily if needed to, though.
Yeah, I call him Chris Clemens of the Seattle Seahawks. My player comparison, guy that was quick, who came into the league to the Raiders. They moved to Seattle under Pete Carroll, who put him on that edge. Chris Clemens was kind of that DN linebacker kind of player, that switched from time to time. He reminds me just like him. Just need a, Chris Clemens wasn't the biggest guy, but he was the more fastest guy on that edge. So it's something that you definitely need for any team.
Yes, sir. Agreed. All right, let's move on to our last man. Now, I don't know, is he this the best for last? I guess.
Yeah, I would say Clayton Glasgow. For me, is one of the best linebackers. Coming from the San Diego Strike Force. This guy is physical. He loves to hit. He is good in the run game. Um, you know, he as you can see right there, he just a powerful linebacker. He's one of the best. Came out of Indiana State University, listing in at 6'1", 220 pounds. His senior year had 46 tackles, 4 sacks, and 1 interception back in 2019. He's still a young player. My player comparison for him is Antonio Pierce, who like a guy that's that hits the gap, that explodes off the ball. They know how to command a defense. You always need a guy in the middle that can command and sniff out the run. We have some talented running backs in the league like Patrick and San Antonio. That you need a physical linebacker to hit that gap and tackle a big guy like that. So this guy would be excellent in the run game. Still like to see him in the more in coverage, practice more in coverage. But he is not afraid of contact. Matt, this guy is one of the best linebackers in the IFL.
Understood. Yeah, I'm just watching these highlights. Dude is
Yeah,
just rocking it, man.
he's just knocking dudes out, man. It just you can't teach stuff like this. The guy that can sniff out the screen, that can got speed, who is young. He just graduated less than 4 years ago, Matt.
Yeah, he's
So
patient. He
yeah,
doesn't go after it unless it's there,
and that's what you need. That's definitely what you need. And this guy can plug on into that mic position. And a guy that is very, very special. As you can see here, he loves to locate the ball. He did have some picks as well. But yeah, Antonio Pierce was my comparison because back in the 2006, 2007, when he was with the Giants, he was doing the exact same thing, locating the ball, wasn't afraid to hit anybody. It helps when you got to face Brandon Jacobs in practice every day. So
Yep.
yeah. So just having Glasgow in his combine, I expect this man again to be in the second or first round draft pick easy. Um, you know, we want to see where he ends up. Um, but I think he's one of the best.
Understood. Now, in terms of the actual draft, do you know the date of that?
Currently, I do not. I know the
Let me
date. I
see if I
know.
can find it online real quick.
Yeah, I maybe it's in hers in a couple months, but I'm not too sure.
I know it's in
Um,
October. I just don't know the exact day.
yeah, I mean, if it's in October, I think it'd be good because you can get a lot of these IFL players in shape because the mini camp should be coming up soon after. Later this year. So definitely got to follow up and see when it's the IFL draft. But yeah, it's a lot of talent, Matt. I mean, this is just top five. We got a lot of big receivers in this draft pool. A lot of 6'4", 6'3" receivers that had injury problems come out of college, but are talented. And
Yep.
it's yeah, a lot of these guys are special and can step into day one and help an XFL team.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them you talk to personally as well. They're hungry. They're ready to
They're
go.
hungry.
They're ready to run through a brick wall for their team. I promise.
I mean,
So,
this is what the XFL is for. Getting from the mainstream media, ESPN. We have over 45 players get signed. Over 90 players get player invites to workouts and stuff like that. This is what these guys want, and thanks to the XFL, it's giving them that opportunity.
yes, sir.
We'll see the results from the combine hopefully soon. But yeah, it should be a good draft.
Agreed. Now we got some comments at home. Start with you, Michael. What's up, Michael? Michael Lathrop,
Hey,
Player
Mike,
54 podcast. Great guy, great host. Great show. If you
absolutely.
guys check him out, if you haven't, seriously, we'll have him on
He has
again
a great
soon.
podcast.
Oh
I
yeah,
love his
great.
podcast. I love it.
I've been watching it since before I started my shindig, and much respect to him.
he's the reason why I know about the Orlando stadium situation and everything. So he's a very insightful person.
Agreed, agreed. So we got a comment from John. Here, check it out. Can you read this?
Um, yeah,
Kurt
so
Warner
Kurt
said
Warner, yeah,
transitioning into the NFL from arena
yeah.
ball was easy because the windows to throw the ball are so small in the arena ball. Is there a QB that sticks out? Was there any quarterbacks? I mean, we know we got TJ Hilliard. Uh, that's one. I'm not sure if he was actually there though. So,
Yeah,
um,
that's the thing. A lot of this stuff on the quarterbacks is kind of tight lip. I try to find them, but looking for maybe TJ Edwards or,
yep, yep.
but I not too sure, so I didn't want to confirm. I still got to look more into it. But a lot of the linebackers and skill positions, those are the guys that were mostly posting it, and those are the guys that they research on. So hopefully we can find quarterback that could be in this draft. So yeah, I would look more into it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, John, this is all stuff he did on his own. This we don't have a official source of what's happening. This is, I mean, this is his thorough research of looking, finding these names on social media, and then researching those guys as we go. As soon as we have something official, you can bet we'll be talking about it and be discussing it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's what so interesting. That's I had Shane on, and he told me he was a kicker, and so he was kicking. They were actually kicking at a pole. They weren't kicking at a field goal post, but he said it was accurate and was efficient. So I guess it held its purpose. But that's it's one of those innovative technology things that I'm sure the XFL is leading the charge on once again.
Yeah. They got a lot of new technology with the jumps and the grip. A lot of innovations they're doing in the XFL. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that translates to on the field. It's one thing to use at the combine, but it has to translate to on the field. But it's been some positive reviews, and we'll see how it does.
Yes, sir. Agreed. Like I said, Shane McInerney said it went great. So he's a professional, and talking to him, I can see if it didn't go well and it wasn't set up correctly, I would have heard that feedback. And I've talked to a couple other guys who said the same thing, but it's not official, so don't want
Yeah,
to don't want to say anything, you know. So okay,
absolutely.
let's do it. We got a couple questions here again, John. This is one he had before the Kurt Warner question. What does IFL get out of this? Are they getting data from all the throwaways the XFL did not invite to the combine? I mean, I don't really feel like it's something negative. It's they're just trying to give these IFL guys opportunity to be seen, to get evaluated, to get
Yeah,
accurate data. Uh, it, in terms, I don't think they're competing. This is all a team focus. So if these guys do slide up to the XFL, cool. If not, they still got that data. They still got the network connections. They got the experience of the combine. So I feel like there's a lot of different positives there, besides just stealing the IFL's players or whatever.
yeah. It's a pipeline. You're establishing a pipeline, just like the AFL back in the day with Kurt Warner. They established a pipeline to the NFL. I mean, Kurt Warner stepped in, started balling out. They were like, okay, what other AFL players are out there that we're missing? That can be the same thing for the IFL. It can be like a pipeline, the IFL to the XFL to the XFL to the NFL. Where you're going to attract more talent to the IFL. It's saying like, if I go to the IFL, I can make my way to the NFL. Instead of just being like an NFL all. Don't make it. That's it. You're building that relationships. You're getting talented guys from the IFL to the XFL to the main stage, to where people can be aware of where they came from and they ball out on TV. I mean, talent. People are going to find talent no matter where you go.
Yep.
And if these IFL are talented and ball out on ESPN and the XFL, it's going to be good for the IFL league and maybe attract more sponsors or more views to their league.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. 100% with everything you said. One more question, and we kind of talked about this a little bit already. Do y'all know when we will start seeing IFL players from the combine sign with the XFL? I mean, you can expect probably September, October. They're supposed to have another draft pertaining to this event.
Yeah.
We don't know the
Yeah.
dates officially yet. And I don't want to, I'm not comfortable saying anything without having some kind of media press release.
Yeah, I expect it to sign right after the draft, because they got another draft, the last one, the free agent draft, coming up. So they want to fill out their rosters as soon as possible before mini camp and this way they can evaluate the talent that they have because they got to start making cuts
Yep.
from the 90-man roster. So they want to do everything quickly as possible. So look forward. I'm definitely going to be monitoring that when they press release in the communications department on the draft. Is it going to be televised or not? Just wait and see. But as of right now, we're just working with the information that we have.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Great answer. Great answer. Agreed. Guys, before we hop off, that's about that's about all we got on the IFL draft. If you have any questions, please comment. I'll ask. We'll talk about it. If we have the answers, we'll say it. But I mean, the way we're trying to do this is we're trying to put out accurate information that we're not pulling out of our head. We're actually trying to find these sources and nail down what's going on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Avion, I
So,
mean, great
yeah.
list, man. That's a good top five. I'm looking at the
Mhm.
full list here. I mean, you've got a great full list as well, but we'd spend a whole nother hour discussing it if
Yeah,
that was the case.
absolutely. I mean, that's the exciting part about it. There's a lot of talented guys that are out there. It's just not, not just the NCAA that has talent. Other leagues or other sectors around the country has NFL quality talent or XFL talent, quality talent, and it's good that we giving these guys spotlight. So yeah, I think that's really important and it's exciting, man. So
Agreed,
that's what
agreed.
we enjoy to do.
Yeah, it's been a good time, and this combine's really gave us something to do the past few days, and not harp on the same stuff that we've been talking about for the past month.
Yeah.
Avion, man, good work. We appreciate you greatly. Like I said, after this, we're going to stream that interview with Shane McInerney. If I said that wrong, Shane, I'm sorry. I try my best. But yeah, he was a good guy. We had a talk yesterday. We talked for about 45 minutes or so, discussing his career, what he's wanting to do in terms of professional kicking, and even like his future in terms of just working. The guy's got a really good head on his shoulders, and I see him with his skill doing something in one of these leagues. In my recommendations, I know he's XFL material, but I mean, I don't make those calls. So
Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams need kickers. I mean, we had a good season of kickers with Russo and Romo, and a lot of good kickers. But teams need kickers, and if you're talented and you can be the next Justin Tucker, there's always a spot for you on any team.
yes, sir, no doubt. Agreed 100% with that statement. There's a lot of spring alt sports kickers that are still thriving comfortably in the NFL setting, and so you show out. You're going to be where you want to.
Yeah, they're
But what
definitely
was
rotating. Yeah, I'm
he
sorry
had
about that.
such a good work ethic, man. I mean, this guy's been everywhere
Yeah,
around the world, so it was pretty interesting. You have to check it out. Uh,
yeah,
Enjoyed getting to know him greatly. But in the meantime, Avion, appreciate your contribution today. Guys, check for Avion to be back on to add to more pieces like this or join episodes. We should
yeah.
have some different interviews coming up also that he'll be active in. Appreciate his assistance. It's really good to be able to have some content to discuss that's not just all coming from me. So appreciate you, Avion. I look
No
forward to
problem.
what you bring to the table in the future. No doubt.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it,
Yes,
Matt.
sir. Before you sign out, man, why don't you tell us any your social handles as well as any future projects you may be working on or anything notable for the people at home?
Yeah, my social on Twitter is Avion P 2418. That's where I share a lot of XFL information. Comment a lot. Um, Future projects again, just focusing on this draft and just player transaction. See what happens throughout the season, and trying to monitor some new potential signees to the XFL. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on, and as the season or the off season progress, try to get prepared for this 2024 season.
I like it. I like it. Yep. There's a whole team of individuals that are working with the podcast now and have joined the team. You notice I say team because this is a team, and so far the collaborations have definitely changed the concepts of our conversation, and all of us have definitely got some different ideas and approaches to how we handle this stuff. So Avion, I think you did a great job, man. I look forward to your future and
Okay.
seeing what you put out for us. And yeah, man, thanks again.
You're welcome, and thank you too, Matt.
Yes, sir. We'll see you next time, sir. All right. So about to stream the interview with Shane McInerney. It's super good guy. Had a good conversation with him yesterday. He's out in Arizona. Look for him. Seriously, he's a big kicker. He's got the skills to back it up as well. So that's the best part. His numbers don't lie. They speak for themselves. With his time in the IFL and as well as his college play, there are highlights available for him. So check them out. But anywho, like always, don't forget Tuesday we have Anthony Miller coming on. He's going to join us, talk to us about some fan engagement stuff, and as well as just fill us in on more about him. Curious to know more about him as a writer and journalist. He's a very busy man with many different sports covers. So I look forward to hearing more about that. Like I said, tomorrow heading to Saints training camp. Got credentialed, so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to meet all the guys from Houston that are there, as well as anybody else that's on the roster that may be an XFL player. See what kind of content I can't wrangle up with them and talk to them about, and at least get some quotes and ask them how things are going. Look forward to that greatly. I'm not far from New Orleans, so this should work out perfect in the long term. Really want to give some coverage to these guys, especially as they continue with their success in the league. And if they don't, it's fine too. We'll watch them at the XFL or wherever they may be. But yeah, so that's what I'll be doing tomorrow. Can't wait for that. That's why I'm wearing my Saints gear. But anywho, we got a big guest list this month. The schedule is out on all social media channels. Check it out. Let me know if you got any feedback, if you want to see anybody. If anybody wants to attend that's got some kind of resume or qualifications, please shoot me a message. We'll get you on, or at least get you an interview scheduled. This has been a learning process, but I feel like we're getting pretty good at what we're doing, and I just hope that we're bringing the fans at home the content they need to engage with this league and the players going forward. As always, thanks to XFL for letting me cover the league. It's a great privilege. Thank you to XFL Board and as well as Ambush Sports. Great places to be and great people to know all the way around. Trying to think if there's anything else on my end. Guys, like, share, and follow. There's some contests going on the socials. Check them out. I'll say them on air later, but right now, I mean, if you're really interested, just check out Facebook or Twitter and you'll see it. But I think that's all I got, guys. After the interview, we will be done, so you won't see me again. So this is my farewell to everyone. Like I said, check for us Tuesday night with Anthony Miller. Should be a good one. And yeah, appreciate you guys for listening. Appreciate everybody for the support and continuing the support as we go. If there's anything you want to see, any content you want, please message me. I'm pretty active, and I'll get with you. But that's it for me, guys. Farewell till next time. I'm going to get this interview pulled up and ready. So long, guys. Take care. All right, Shane, we are live. Welcome back. Hey, just want to say a quick shout out to you. Appreciate you coming today, talking to us. How's the weather there where you're at, man?
Yeah, I'm in Arizona, about 20 minutes from Phoenix, and it's pretty hot here. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. I'm sure it's not too much different than here in Mississippi. We're a little more humid, but I bet that heat is cranking that way.
Yeah, it's hot. It's actually really good for training. You know what I mean? It's the good thing about Arizona is you can kick all year round because the weather's nice, which is great. You know.
Yes, sir. So, guys, today we got Shane McInerney on. He's an Irish kicker. He's very, very proficient in his skills that he has. Former footballer. He's going to tell us a little bit more about his life and what he hopes to accomplish as a professional kicker moving on in his career. Shane, like I said, I appreciate you coming on today, man. I've heard some things about this interview, so people are waiting and watching for this. So thanks, man, and look forward to getting to know you.
Great. Sounds good.
Let's hear a little bit more about how you did in the IFL to XFL Combine. That was yesterday. I know you're pretty busy during the day on that event. I mean, how do you feel your performance went there?
Yeah, I was happy. I kicked well. I had a good day. I went in there. I'm a confident guy. I went in there full of confidence. I knew I was going to perform well. I probably kicked about 15 balls the day before in Arizona with my kicker coaches there, Zen DeJay's brothers. So they're well aware of the XFL and the rules in the league and stuff. So they helped me the day before really prepare. and the week before prepare for this event. So big shout out to them. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So you do have a team around you actually assisting and trying to get
Yeah.
you where you want to be.
Yeah, I've got the Zendejas brothers in Arizona, which I, work out with very regularly. I mean, on a regular basis, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and really good guys. We actually meet once a week for a meeting as well, just to talk about football and discuss how I can improve my game. And then I've got Nick Novak and Shane Graham, 2 former NFL kickers who I work with as well, and they're mentors for me and kind of good friends as well, who I can ask for advice whenever I want as well, which is great.
Oh yeah, that sounds fantastic. You really do have the team around you to be successful.
Yeah.
So going forward in terms of your events, can you tell us more about just what did you do there at the Combine, and how did they measure your performance?
Yeah, so it was well run. It was very organized. So we got there, obviously I'd done my warm up, and I said hello to some former teammates that I knew from the Rattlers. But after I said hello to them, it was all kind of focused on myself and my performance. So yeah, I got a good warm up in, and then the kickers we were actually kicking into a pole. There was no goalpost there, so we were actually kicking a pole. So we had 8 field goals and we'd done 6 kickoffs, and yeah, I had a great day. I was very happy with my performance. So I'm confident. I've done enough to earn an opportunity in the XFL, and that's kind of where my mind's at. I want to be playing in the XFL next year.
Yeah. I mean, looking at you, man, I definitely think you do, as well as you seem very cultured. I know you're not from America. Either way it goes, it seems like you're very cultured and educated talking to you. But like I said, let's get more on that here shortly. I definitely want to hear more about your backstory. But in terms of, like you said, the events at the Combine, you thought everything was organized correctly and everything was efficient in terms of how it was running?
Yeah, no, it was great. It was very organized. We got there. You check in at 8:30 a.m. You got your shirt and stuff, and you got to talk to some coaches and stuff like that. And then they got us together at 9 a.m. and it was very well structured and well put together. Obviously I was focused on the kicking side of things, and then every position had different drills and stuff they needed to do. So yeah, I was very happy overall. So.
Yes, sir. Sounds great. How many athletes do you think attended that event? Just roundabout idea.
About 200 players, or maybe 210, 215 players.
Gotcha. And we're talking the best of the best in the IFL. Is that what we're talking when we think of this 200?
Yeah. So it was an IFL to XFL Combine, because they're partners. They got partners now, so to try and push IFL players up to the NFL or the XFL. Sorry, and yeah, not every IFL player was there, but it was those players in the IFL that feel like they deserve a chance in the XFL, or have that ambition to push on and play in the XFL. Which is great.
Yes, sir. That chance is needed. There's a lot of skilled guys, you amongst many, that way I know, just in the IFL. So I'm pretty excited just to hear some of the results and see what athletes we get out of that to be in XFL or NFL or anything else along the way.
Yeah.
Do you want to share? Is there anything, funny, anything happened that was worth talking about on air? While you were at the Combine itself?
Nothing too in particular. Something that was different for me as a kicker was we were kicking into a big pole. There's a big pole, and we were kicking into the pole, and there were 2 cones either side. But so there was not actually a post there, goal post, which I thought there would be, which is a lot easier to decide if a kick goes over or not. But it was really easy. It was pretty easy overall, though, to tell. To tell if you're aiming at pole. So it was, even though it wasn't ideal, there was 2 cones either side, so it was pretty straightforward. You could tell if a kick was missed or if it was went over. So.
Understood. That's a pretty good description of the events and how you did at those events, and we appreciate that greatly. There's a lot of people at home wondering what that consisted of at the Combine, so definitely gives us more of an idea of what you were doing there. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no, there's actually another one as well, that the kickoffs are a little bit different. So the XFL rule is, in the NFL, your kickoffs could go 70 to 80 yards. In the end zone, deep in the end zone. But for the XFL, if you hit a kickoff in the end zone, the ball comes back to the 40-yard line. The other team gets the ball at the 40-yard line. So you don't want to hit the ball in the end zone. So you want to hit that ball about 60 to 68 yards deep. So basically, you want that ball landing between the 10 and the goal line. As opposed to the end zone. So that's something that really suits me, because in the IFL, it's a little similar to the way the Rattlers wanted me kicking my kickoffs. They wanted them high and deep in the corners. And so that's something that kind of I was prepared for, and I felt like my kickoffs were solid, yesterday, which I was happy with,
Gotcha. So you're actually the kickoff kicker for the IFL also coming in. I thought you were just a field goal kicker. So you kick it, you do it all. Gotcha. So that's pretty cool, man. I mean, kicking in the IFL has to be very different just in terms of like field width. So, I mean, do you feel like that adequately prepared you to be more accurate in your kicks going forward?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Kickoffs and extra points and field goals, because in the XFL and the NFL, the goalposts are 15 yards wide. You're hitting into a 15-yard wide post. In the IFL, you're hitting into an 8 yards wide post. So, which means if you're a consistent kicker in the IFL, I feel like you deserve a chance in the outdoor, because you're kicking into an 8-yard post, which makes you a very accurate kicker. So
yes, sir.
The fact that I went 94% this year in the IFL, I feel like I deserve a chance, because those kicks that I missed, those 6 kicks that I missed out of 79 kicks, I believe would have been over in an outdoor post. So they weren't big misses. They were just inches wide.
Yeah, that makes total sense, man. I mean, I'm feeling what you're putting down, no doubt. Let's talk about your background now. So go ahead and tell us where. I know you're from Ireland, correct?
Yeah.
Let's hear your story as a youth, and then making your way all the way over here to play football, American football. Let's just hear it and roll with it.
Yeah, sounds good. So I was born and raised in Ireland. You probably hear the accents, but I moved to USA on a soccer scholarship when I was 19. I was playing underage international soccer for Ireland's schoolboys under 18, and I got offered multiple scholarships to America to come over to play college soccer at the age of 19. And I came to a school in New York first called Monroe Community College. I went to a JUCO in New York first, because my grades weren't big enough to go to a D1 school. So I went to a JUCO first, and then done well there, and had a great season. And then I ended up going to finishing off my final 3 years of college soccer in West Palm Beach, Florida, at Kaiser University, and also done well there and loved it there. Really, really beautiful place. And
yes, sir.
Yeah, so then on my senior year, I was named All-American for college soccer, and that kind of allowed me to have some opportunities to go pro after my college soccer. So I signed my first professional soccer contract in Sweden with Linköping City in 2016, a Division 1 team in Sweden, professional team in Sweden. So I moved there after my college soccer in Florida. I done a year there and it went well. And then I moved back to Florida, and I played with Jacksonville Armada. They were a professional soccer team in Jacksonville, Florida at the time. So I played with them in 2018. And then 2019, I had an opportunity to go to Australia. My agent got me a contract in Australia. So I moved to Australia and played with 2 professional soccer teams over in Australia, one in Melbourne and one in Queensland. Yes, I was in COVID in Ireland, and just really bored, and decided to buy an NFL ball and a kicking stick. And I was coming back to America coaching soccer in Chicago in 2021, and I reached out to Chris Nendick. I got his number, found his number online, and I noticed that he trained Jake Elliott of the Philadelphia Eagles. So I figured I'll do a few sessions with him and see how it goes, and see if he thinks I have potential. So I done some sessions with him, and he was like, "Look, you've got a lot of potential with this, but you're gonna have to put a lot of work in." So there's a few things I had to tweak in regards to my approach to the ball and ball contact and stuff. So I spent the next 3 months, I think, just nearly every day or every second day, I bought like 5 balls, and I was just like, after soccer coaching or before soccer coaching with my full-time job, I would go to I just go to random fields, like high school fields or around Chicago, and I would just practice on my own, and I would like practice with Chris Nendick also once a week in Chicago. So I improved a lot. I started posting videos. I started posting videos on Twitter. I was told to put videos on Twitter because I could possibly get a scholarship to college. So I done that, and then a guy reached out to me, Brendan Cahill. He reached out to me on Twitter and was like, "Hey man, Shane, can I give you a call?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "I think I've got a full scholarship for you in Prue State, Nebraska, if you want to take it." He's like, "Look, it's not going to be as nice as Australia or Florida, but he said you can focus on the football and you can really learn." He said the coach there is a CFL coach and a spring league coach as well. So that really appealed to me. And then Coach Crean, the coach there, called me that evening, and he was like, "Hi Shane, look, I'm very interested in you, but I need to see you kick live." So he was actually kicking coaching actually in the spring league in Indianapolis at the time. So he was like, "Can you drive to Indianapolis in a couple of days and you get to kick at the Indianapolis Colts Stadium in front of me, and I'll decide if I want you or not." So I was like, "Yeah, that's perfect." So I drove from Chicago. I left at like 4 a.m. in Chicago, like on a Tuesday morning. And
Wow.
I drove all the way to Indianapolis, and I arrived at Indianapolis Colts Stadium, the Lucas Oil Stadium, and I kicked in front of him. And look, it went really well. I think I made most of my kicks, and I showed that I had a big leg. So he was like, "Yeah, look, I'd love to have you in Peru States," and that was starting in like a month later. So and he said, "I'll give you a full scholarship. You won't have to pay for anything." And I was like, "That's great." So yeah, I went there, and I ended up going 96% the whole season. So I had 42 kicks like live in a game, and I had 42 kicks, and I made 40 of them. So I went 96%, and I ended up being ranked number 1 kicker in the NAIA. I couldn't go D1. I couldn't get eligible for D1, so I had to play at NAIA school, which is a smaller level. But
Yes, sir.
I ended up being ranked number 1 kicker in the country for NAIA in 2022, which is great. So I identified as an NFL draft prospect. So I entered the draft last year. Didn't get drafted, but I knew that I had the ability to go pro and make a living out of this. So that's kind of the steps I took in order to start kicking. So
that's awesome, man. That's a really long journey right there. I know you made it sound like it was fast, but that's years and work. That's a lot of experience. What so coming in, you were 19. It took you what, 2 years to make it to Purdue, or not Purdue? I'm sorry. Where did you say again?
So I came to America when I was 19. Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm actually 31 now. So I've done 4 years college soccer, and then I've done 4 years professional soccer, and then 29. So 2 years ago I started kicking 29. So yeah, I kind of went from just learning how to kick a ball in a small Gaelic football fields, Irish football fields in Ireland on long grass and stuff to 4 months later kicking at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis Colts. And then now I'm a professional kicker. I've got a full year of experience under me, so there's been a lot of progress in 2 years, which I'm very proud of and very happy that I've done that. So
it's impressive, man. You really had to work for it. You could have went and just played soccer, right? You could have continued your soccer career.
Yeah, I knew the soccer career was going to go on until I was 33 or 34, and I would have to just go into coaching and stuff then. But I love being an athlete, and I know with this kicking thing, I can kick until I'm 40 or 45, and once I stay injury free, and that's something that appeals to me. And I mean, I know that I studied a lot of kickers. I studied Justin Tucker, I studied Jason Saunders, I studied all these kickers that played in the NFL. I knew exactly what their stats were in college, and I knew that. I monitored that, and I knew that like after my year in Nebraska that my stats were actually better in college than some of these guys when they were in college. So I knew it was a realistic approach for me to try and go pro. So yeah.
Yes, sir. Now tell me, I mean, I saw you're 6'4", 240. You're a big kicker. You look up a lot of kickers. I mean, there's a few big kickers, but that's pretty good, especially considering you're still agile and you have the skills to back up that size. Do you feel like that's going to be a big benefit coming in somewhere?
Yeah, I do. I think the presence is a big thing as well. Like I think there's a guy called Adam Vinatieri who played with the Colts. There's another guy called Janikowski. I think Nick Novak refers to me. He reminds me. He thinks that I remind him of Janikowski. He's a big kicker as well. He had a big leg. So yeah, look, it's great. Some people are like, oh, you should be a tight end. You're too big for a kicker. But I don't agree with that. I think anyone can kick once they've got the kicking ability and the right ball contact. So I said, I'm very happy with my size and my athleticism. So I think the next few months I'm just gonna keep working here with the guys in Arizona, the Zendejas brothers, and they'll get me into really good shape and have me ready for any opportunity that comes my way. So.
Good deal, man. That sounds awesome. You got the team around you to support you. You got the work ethic ready to come through. I can tell that you're really going to kill it.
Yeah, I'm very driven. I'm very driven, and I do have a great team around me. I've got the Zendejas brothers here in Arizona, and I've got Nick Novak and Shane Graham, 2 former NFL kickers who I work with regularly as well. So they're great guys, and they're the guys I can give them a phone call whenever I want and get advice off them, and they'll talk to me. And Shane, actually, the funny thing about Shane is I reached out to Shane back in 2018 on Instagram. I just put myself out there and messaged him on Instagram, and Shane was just coming out with the NFL, I think, at the time, or he was maybe coaching with the Gators, special teams coach with the Gators. And I said, look, Shane, I'm a professional soccer player. I just finished my season with Jacksonville Armada, but I'm trying to go to the NFL. I'm very driven. I want to go to the NFL. And he kind of replied to me, and he was very honest. And he just said, look, it's going to be a very difficult path for you. You know what I mean? You've never kicked in American football before. It's going to be very difficult. And I got a lot of like motivation off that. I just kind of said, I don't like kind of been told that I can't do something. So I kind of got a lot of motivation off that. But I did respect Shane because, you know, Shane played in the league and he had a great career in the league and he's a great guy. But I stayed in contact with Shane when I went to Nebraska. And after my season in Nebraska, Shane reached out to me and was like, I'm very happy with how you've handled your business and went about things. And he actually invited me to his house in Michigan last Christmas. I stayed in Arizona last Christmas, and I was in Arizona working in a country club, bartending full time. And Shane reached out to me. He was like, do you want to come to Michigan next week, like during Christmas? And I was like, yeah, sounds great. So I flew to Michigan. I spent a week at his house. Awesome. We went and trained every day, like in Grand Rapids. You know, we done gym sessions at his house after, and it was fantastic. You know, he's a top guy. He's someone who's going to be a close friend of mine going forward, but also a great mentor. And yeah, it's just amazing how that relationship formed. You know what I mean? It's and something that yeah, I learned a lot from him. You know, especially about the mental side of the game.
Yeah, no doubt. That experience, I mean, a lot of those things they can help with, and they can mentor you in the right position. So it's awesome that you have that, man. I mean, most people without that probably wouldn't have made it as far. So I mean, it's good. Congrats, and that's good to hear. It makes me know that no matter where you end up, you're going to be successful. Whether that's where you're at now, you'll still stay successful. So now, you said you were a bartender. Is that what you do in your off time? You play and then you also bartend?
Yeah, I've got a very broad resume, and I've been all over the world, so I've had a lot of different jobs. I've had jobs in sales, you know what I mean? I've done soccer coaching, I've done personal training, bartended, I've done security at a bar. So actually go work at a bar in Surprise in Arizona tonight, somewhere I used to work maybe a year ago. So I picked up a few shifts there. So I'm actually going to be doing security on the door for them tonight, which, you know, I love. Yeah, it's great. The kind of the social aspect of working in a bar is really good. I'm a sociable guy, so, you know, I enjoy that. So it's kind of good because when, for instance, the contract ends, I find it pretty quickly to pick up work because I've got a broad resume. So it's good in that sense, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Did you have an undergrad degree? Did you finish that?
Yeah, business management. So yeah.
Gotcha. Just curious. That's pretty good though, man. I know that means you got a head on your shoulders, and yeah. I mean, I respect you knowing that. Hey, you go play and bust your ass in the day, and then you go work at night. So that's really good, man.
I don't like being bored. You know, I'm very driven, and I like making money. You know, so you know, money doesn't.
Don't we all?
Money doesn't come to you growing trees. You know what I mean? So you got to work for it. So yeah, I like working. I work very hard. You know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now tell me, I mean, what's the biggest differences in playing American football and your version of football? I mean, I know there's a lot, but what applies and what doesn't apply, the differences? I mean, really playing the two sports, in your opinion.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the biggest difference is I played soccer and I was a central defender, and basically there's 11 guys in the field at the time. And like, as a central defender, you could have a really good game, but the team could lose. You know what I mean? Like, if everyone else doesn't have good games, or like for certain reasons, you could have a great game, but the team could lose. Whereas in American football, it's different as a kicker, because kicking's even though you're on a team, and I'm a good team member. You know, definitely I feel like I'm a good team member. However, it's very individual. So the team could win the game, and the kicker could have a really bad game, and the kicker could be cut that day, you know, or that night, or the next morning. Whereas the team could also lose the game. I've been in situations, you know, in Nebraska where we lost maybe 2 or 3 games, but I've had really good games. I've put 6 or 9 points on the board, you know, for 2 or 3 field goals. So in that case, it's like, yeah, you're sad you've lost the game, but you've also kept your job. You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is that, like, kicking is very individual. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a whole different thing, and you really need to lock in and focus on yourself. You know what I mean? Whereas the soccer was more of football. American football is still a team. You're still a team, but yeah, I hope that understands. And also, like, as a kicker, you also have a central defender. You didn't really have the chance to kind of win or lose a game for your team. You know what I mean? It was kind of like you're judged throughout your whole performance. You know what I mean? Whereas a kicker, like, you could, as a kicker in American football, you have the chance to kind of, the responsibility to win or lose that game for your team. So you need to be really mentally strong, and, you know, you need to believe in yourself to do that. And I love having that. I love having the ability and the opportunity to win the game for our team, you know, which is really important, you know.
Yes, sir. And I always say, I mean, special teams in football is among what you have to win and be successful. If you don't have successful special teams, then there's no point in playing. Now, saying that, I mean, have you heard anything about the NFL adopting the XFL kickoff rule? Have you heard any details regarding that?
I've actually seen that, yeah, online. I follow a lot of, news, the kicker update pages and stuff like that online on Instagram and on Twitter. So I did notice that the NFL is like flirting with the XFL idea of the kickoffs, which would be, I think, would be great, But if that happens, it would be great. If it doesn't, it's still fine. But yeah, I think that's great. And I think the XFL is a great league for players to do well in that league and push on to the NFL. I think maybe 30 or 40 players from the XFL this season are now getting opportunities or have signed with NFL teams, which is huge, So
yes, sir,
definitely I think Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, he calls it the league of opportunity, which is a perfect name for it, I think.
Yes, sir, no doubt. And a lot of people don't like the term developmental, but I do, because it gives you the chance as a player to get better on that field with reps and as well as get game time film. I mean, for you as a kicker, it's crucial. You need that stuff. So,
yeah,
I mean, I think it's a great thing also, and it changes daily in terms of who else is getting signed or practicing with a team. So you are correct. The opportunities are endless when you come play here with the XFL. And I notice myself, when you're a successful kicker in the spring leagues or the alternative leagues, you will have your opportunities. There's no doubt. And you'll see a lot of these guys that, they played in like just the AAF. I don't know if you're familiar with that. That was the Alliance of American Football.
Yeah,
it was a league. It shut down, but I mean, you got Young Wei Koo. He's super successful with the Atlanta Falcons. Super good athlete.
Really good kicker. He's done very well,
Yep. Pro Bowl kicker. I mean, he's legitimate in what he's doing.
Yep, no doubt about it.
So, I mean,
Shane Graham actually works out with him as well. Trains him as well.
Gotcha. So you're right in the network you need to be in, no doubt. How do you feel your experience of being around the world, like of being in different places, has impacted your skills on and off the field as a teammate or actually kicker for any team?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think it's massive. I'm a very mature guy for my age, even though, I'm a wild one, no doubt about it. That's for sure. But I'm very mature. I'm very locked in, you know what I mean? And but the thing about it is I've built up a lot of contacts over the world. So I've been through a lot of struggles in my life from traveling around the world on my own. I know, how to adapt to different cultures, different environments, new teams where I go into. Like I went to Nebraska, I met some friends for life, Nebraska. Some people would struggle to go to Nebraska, and start a new life there. I went there and, I thrived in that environment. And so I feel like for me, like, it's not necessarily, I got it, like when I finished my contract in Jacksonville Armada in Florida, like a few months later, I was hopping on a flight to Australia, the other side of the world on my own. I started a new life over there on my own. So for me, it's not necessarily about, like looking at a map and look how far away this place is. No, I don't think about that. Once I've got accommodation, a place to live, I've got a structure where I can work out every day. I've got food on the table, and I've got a good people surrounding me. I don't care where I am in the world. I'm going to succeed.
Love it, man. Great answer. Yep. Do you miss? I mean, what do you miss from home? Do you miss anything? I know being an adventurer, I mean, that's a little limited, but
I miss the Guinness. They've got the best Guinness in Ireland because Guinness. I love Guinness, but Guinness is actually made in Ireland. Like it's like factories in Dublin, so it's like the Irish pubs actually get the freshest Guinness first. So when I go home, I do enjoy my Guinness when I go home. But yeah, I do miss Guinness. It's a lot better back home. But also, of course, I miss my friends and my family as well. So I'm gonna try to get home for a week or two this Christmas and link in with everyone. So it's gonna be good.
Understood. Yeah, I didn't really know much about being in Ireland or being an Irishman until we talked and I started doing some research. And y'all have a very fun culture. I would much like to visit over that way very soon myself, just to check it out.
Yeah, look, it's a great little country. It's very small. New York State is bigger. New York State is bigger than Ireland. It's a small country, but I'm very proud. I'm very proud of my roots. I'm a proud McInerney, and I'm a proud Irishman. So it's somewhere where I love to go back and visit everyone. But sometimes I get distracted when I'm home because, I think in America's really the land of opportunity, and it's I'm very focused and driven over here. There's a lot of opportunity for me over here, so I do see my future over here, but it's also great to get back home and see everyone as well, So.
Yes, sir. Yeah, myself personally, I've never left the U.S., so much respect to you, sir. I appreciate your stories and your experience.
Yeah, no worries. I can't. I think for anyone anyone that's young, you know what I mean, and finish college or something, like the best advice I can give them is go travel the world, because if I hadn't left Ireland when I was 19, I would not be the person I am today, and I would not have the experiences I have, you know what I mean. And I have a very open mind because I've seen a lot of the world, you know what I mean. So it's really good. You kind of look at things very differently, you know. So that's good.
Yes, sir. No doubt. No doubt. Let's ask you a few more questions here, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So before we ask, this is a two-parter. How do you deal with adversity? How do you deal with hard times as a player or as a person? However you want to answer that, feel free.
I think logically, I don't react. So when I was younger, I was a very reactive person. I used to react to situations, you know, whether it be good or bad. I don't react anymore. I've been through so much that if you react to your emotions in a certain way, that's going to interrupt how you make your decision and deal with that problem. So, for instance, I got released from Orlando Predators this year after 3 games. I was 20 on 22 on kicks. They released me. I could have, you know, got emotional, you know, got pissed off, and, you know, some people might have took that the wrong way. They said, you know, I got released and looking in a negative way, but I knew that I had 3 really good games. So what I done was, an hour after I got released, I reached out to my friend in Bulgaria who does my video footage. I've never met him, but he does my video footage for me in soccer and everything. I reached out to him and I said, hey, can you do my footage for me? And I sent him all my times and everything on YouTube. He got back to me a day later. So I had that footage for the 3 games. I pitched that footage out to every team in America, every indoor team in America. And I think that 2 days later, the Arizona Rattlers had me on a flight to Arizona and offered me a contract, you know. So
awesome.
They're actually the top indoor organization in the country. The Rattlers are a huge organization. So I was very happy with that, you know. So yeah, I think the big thing for me dealing with adversity is understanding that, look, this is normal. You got to go through failures before you have success. Every successful person has been through a lot of failures before they achieve success. So you got to realize that and understand that. A lot of people are afraid to fail. That's why they don't take chances or take risks or, you know, try and put themselves out there. But I've been through so many ups and downs in my life that I know that they make me stronger and more resilient, and they lead me to where I'm meant to be. And I feel like, you know, yeah, I got released from the Orlando Predators, but everything happens for a reason. It led me to get the opportunity with the Rattlers, and I had a really good season. And now, you know, I'm looking forward, and I'm hoping to be in the XFL next year. You know, so.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, so if you would have been released, if you wouldn't have hustled and you wouldn't have done that and put that on your shoulders, I mean, we can almost say you probably wouldn't have played in an arena football team this season, correct?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, if I, you know, I had job offers. I had full-time job offers. I was once I was released, you know, I looked into every situation, how I would tackle this, but I knew I wanted to keep playing. But I did have job offers in Florida near Orlando that I was going to pursue until something with football came up. You know, I went to manage an Irish bar for a week or two to get some money together and help a guy out there that I know. And then I was also offered a marketing job with a vacation company, which would have been great as well. Maybe I'll go back and do that in the future when I finish playing football. But once the Rattlers contacted me, look, I said, yeah, get me on a flight, and I went there. You know, so and I really enjoyed it here in Arizona. You know, so.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So this next question will go right into that too. I mean, what's the biggest hardship so far you've had? Is that the biggest hardship, or has there been tougher situations that you've dealt with since, I guess, this path to greatness as a kicker?
Well, I don't know, actually. I'm trying to think. Biggest hardships as a kicker or along the journey. I don't know. It's probably been tough. I haven't seen my family in 2 years. You know what I mean? I've been doing this for the last 2 years. I haven't seen my family in Ireland in 2 years. You know, a lot of guys here that play with the Rattlers, some of them are, you know, they're from Arizona. They get to see their family and stuff every day. But look, I know that I'm chasing this journey on my own. You know what I mean? And it's something that I know that I can succeed with. So if I don't see my family, I'm not too worried about it. You got FaceTime and you got stuff that you can stay in contact with them now. But yeah, that's probably been away from family and friends for so long. But at the end of the day, I know it's for the best, and I know it's going to lead me to a better place, you know. So.
Yes, sir. Is your family big over that way? I mean, what you say family? Are we talking immediate family, or you got a big? Just basically trying to understand this.
I've got a small immediate family, but I've got like a lot of like cousins on the McInerney side of my family. I've got a lot of cousins, you know what I mean, and stuff like that, you know. So I've got my mom, my stepdads, and my stepbrother on my immediate family. My dad died when I was 1, so he's not around. But I've got an uncle, his brother, who I speak to every day, Jerry McInerney, and he's a sportsman in Ireland. He's well known in Ireland, for sports. So he's someone that I actually call every single morning when I wake up and I have a conversation with him. And he keeps me in tune, He keeps me dialed in, which is great,
Yep, and that will lead right into my next question. Who are your role models? Who do you really look up to? I mean, athletically or personally, it doesn't really matter. Whichever. I mean, in the morning, who do you want to make proud?
I want to make my mom proud the most. She's been a really strong person for me. I really want to do a lot of this for her and be successful for her. But I think my role models, the first number one is Jerry McInerney, my uncle. He's a huge role model for me, and as I said, he's kind of a big name back in Ireland. The McInerney name is a big sporting name in Ireland, and he achieved a lot playing hurling and Irish sport there, and he's just very he's got a similar mindset to me. Obviously he's my uncle, but he keeps me locked in. He gives me great advice when I need it, and then also you got Shane Graham and Nick Novak are two role models for me as well. Some guys I look up to. I've done a lot of research on them before I even reached out to them and got to know them, and I know they've been there and done that. So look, I'm gonna listen to them and take their advice, and they're gonna give me advice to help me as well. And the Zendejas brothers are great as well. They're like a family here for me. The guys here in Arizona, I link in with them every two or three times a week. And they're really like brothers to me. They're really, really good guys, and so I think it's really important to be surrounded by people. I'm also a huge Conor McGregor fan. I don't agree with everything he does, but I got a lot of motivation off him growing up. Yep. As an athlete, and he went through a struggle in Ireland, financially in Ireland. He was going through a struggle. He was on the social welfare in Ireland, and when he was younger, and he decided to pursue, the fighting, and he done very well with it. Like in similar situation to me, I was on social welfare when I was in COVID in Ireland. I wasn't working, and I was getting social welfare, so I wasn't making a lot of money, but that's when I started this journey. So me and him have similar, I think similar stories in a way, where we both started in that sense, So.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, he definitely worked his way up to an empire, so I can see definitely how there's a role model aspect.
Yeah,
you're right. He's got some quirks, but he's a champion, and
his mindset's incredible. He's built an empire himself, and people are going to hate him, but at the end of the day, they'd also love to be him, So.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to another one, man. What is your most enjoyable experience so far during play or your career?
For kicking, is it?
Yeah. Kicking.
Yeah. I'd say all of it. To be fair, I'm just kind of all of it. Like it's all been really good. I think, every environment I've been into, like the Peru States and Nebraska, was a really good thing for me just to get started and get going. And I'm just really enjoying this journey. I think like I'm different than some people. I'm very hungry. Like I've only done this for 2 years, and I'm willing to give it 10 years. There's some other guys started kicking when they're 14 or 15. They might have gone to a D1 school, and then they just go. They decided like that they've done it long enough, And if they don't have opportunities, they're just going to go and pursue something else, like other jobs, which that's fine too. But I think for me, the fact that this is all new to me and I'm learning, I'm not going to hit my peak for another few years, which is great. So it's something that I'm very hungry for this, and just learning all the time. And it's like a game, It's just like I'm just like figuring it out as I go. But I'm really enjoying it. It's amazing. Yeah, like I love football. I love America. I came to love American football. I've only started watching American football 2 years ago, and so when I started, I didn't really watch it much before, but I love the sport and I love the kicking aspect, and I just really enjoy it. It's kind of ruthless, and it's a violent sport too, but it's great, and like when you're in that group of team together with a group of guys, you guys are brothers for life. It's amazing. Like it's really good.
Yes, sir. All respectable answers for sure. The passion is what's driving you, I can tell. I mean, wanting to be great comes second, but the passion's first.
Yeah, look, I'm very driven. Look, I'm not. I'll be on the door tonight. Working the door until 2:30 a.m. in the morning, and in a bar in Surprise. But all I'll be thinking about on the door, I'll be doing my job, but I'll be thinking about is football and that next kick over the next few days. So even though I'll be doing something else to make money, I'll be focusing on that tunnel vision of what I want to achieve. So.
Yes, sir. I got a couple more questions for you, and then that'll be it. Like I said, I don't want to keep you on too long, man. I appreciate your time so far.
Sounds good. I just need to plug this into charge.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead. You're good. We got time.
Cheers. Oh, it should be good enough.
Yeah. Sounds great. All right. So, in your opinion, what makes a successful professional kicker? What makes someone successful being a pro level kicker?
That's a good question. I think, first of all, you got to be accurate and you got to be consistent. So you got to be accurate. You got to be consistent. At the end of the day, you're going to be judged off your stats no matter what. If your stats aren't good, you're not going to have an opportunity. If you're finishing a season 60 to 70%, you're not going to have much of a chance. So accuracy and consistency is really important. And then the second one I would say is your mindset, your mental strength. That's huge. Having the ability to, every kicker is going to miss a kick now and again. And the biggest thing when you miss a kick is not reacting or showing a lot of emotion. It's just like, for me, when I miss a kick, I don't show a lot of emotion. It's right on to the next kick, And that's what Coach Guy, Arizona Rattlers, really, really likes about me. He knew that if I did miss a kick in a game, that more than likely I'm going to get the next kick, and that's what I showed this season with the Rattlers. So I think mental strength is huge, dealing with adversity and bouncing back. And I think me personality, what separates me from a lot of guys, other kickers, is that I'm 30. Obviously, I'm 31, but there might be some kickers that are younger than me, but I think they've not been through the struggles or adversity or life experience that I have in life. So I feel like if I miss a kick, I don't let it faze me, and I just move on to the next one, which is really important. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you can see it on television. You can see it in a game once the kicker misses a kick and he's down. And like you said, typically it will spread into his gameplay that game, or maybe more games as we go. So it's a great quality to have.
No, it's like I dealt with a lot of adversity this year with the Rattlers. We played the Arizona Wranglers in a game away, and I missed a field goal. It was a 34, I would say, a 35-yard field goal, and it was a game winner. So it was like regular time. It was a game winner. Came down to that field goal. I missed it by maybe 3 inches to the right in the indoor. So in the 8-yard post, I missed it. It was a good hit, but missed it. And I didn't let it faze me. And then, because I knew we were going to go into overtime, so we went into overtime. And then the opportunity came for me to hit another winning kick, and I got that, So we won the game. We beat the Wranglers. So that was something that I dealt with adversity in that game, but I didn't let it control me. I got on with it since I was ready for the next kick, So.
Yes, sir. Let's get one more good question for you. What do you have to offer a professional team as your career progresses? As you continue getting better, and speaking of now, what do you have to offer any team, whether it be XFL or NFL or Europe League or anything?
Yeah, so first and foremost, an accurate and consistent kicker. I think I'm going to make the majority of my kicks. That's number one. And number two is having the ability to win a game for my team. I've done that and I've shown I can do it. So that's number two. Number three is that my character. I've got a big personality in the dressing room. I get on with all the guys. I'm not a shy person. I'm not a quiet person. I don't back down. So it's something that that culture and been in that environment and been able to mix with other guys and get on with the team is really, really important. So some kickers might be a little bit quieter or something. I'm not that guy. I've got a big personality. I would consider myself a leader in the dressing room as well. Even though I'm a kicker, I consider myself a leader in the dressing room as well. So,
understood. In terms of gameplay, you feel like you can keep up with anybody on the field right now and just kicking?
Yeah, look, I'm a very confident guy. I know my abilities, but I also think that time and patience is everything. Some people reach out to me and they'll say, "Look, are you going to get a chance in the NFL?" And I'll let them know. I say no doubt about it when the time is right. But I think if I had a chance in the NFL maybe a year ago, maybe I would have got in, and I wasn't really ready. But playing the IFL and getting all this experience, when the time comes, I will be ready. But I think a realistic pathway for me is going to be. Look, I've done well in the IFL this year. My plan is to be in the XFL next year, and I know that if I have a good season and if I go over 90% in the XFL, if and when I'm there, that I'll get my opportunity in the NFL, and that's kind of the pathway I'm looking at. So it's not going to happen overnight. As I said, I'm willing to give this 10 years, but I'm confident I'm going to end up in the NFL. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Very, very good answer. Yeah, I was going to ask you your future plans, but you included it in there, no doubt. You've got a good head on your shoulders. The passion's there as well as the skill. So, Shane, I look forward to what happens to you down the line and keeping up with your career. And at this point, the XFL or any other league is going to be they're going to have to be watching for you because you've definitely got the skills to be a professional. And I can tell currently you already are. I mean, just me and you speaking, I can tell you got it, man. So
yeah,
I greatly look forward to seeing what you accomplish.
Yeah, look, I'm going to be, the next few months are going to be pretty exciting. I'm going to be working hard with my team and the people around me. And once that opportunity comes, I'm going to be ready, and I'm going to make sure that I take it with both my hands, So.
Yeah. So your future plans are opportunities. You're about to either take them or prepare for them. Either way.
Yeah, look, I've got a clear vision of what the next 10 years of my life looks like, and that's playing football. And as a professional, and I'm going to be a professional kicker for the next 10 years, and that's all that's on my mind. And maybe I'll go into coaching or something after that. But I'm pretty confident the next 10 years I'll have a career as a kicker, So.
That's awesome, Shane. Shane, I appreciate you meeting with me today and discussing this. That's basically going to wrap up the interview portion of what's going on. I don't want to keep you on here for 2 hours, bugging you, but I feel like we got to know you as a player as well as a person during this interview. And my thing here is bridging that gap for everyone at home to see and to see who you are and what you have to offer. And you definitely accomplished that today. So I appreciate you greatly for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much, Matthew. I appreciate you for reaching out and having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Before we close out, I know I'll put all your links for like your Twitter, and I've seen some of your YouTube stuff. I'll put that in the show notes, but is there anything you want people at home to follow you on or keep up with? This is also an audio podcast. I just started the live about a month ago.
Yeah, no, not really. To be honest, my name is Shane McInerney, so if you want to type that in social media and you can follow my journey on there, you're more than welcome. But look, I'm not crying out for followers or anything. I'm focused on me. But if they want to follow me, that's up to them, So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I like it, man. I just wanted to ask. Some people get a little salty if I don't include that portions.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I appreciate you, brother, and I look forward to hearing. If you need anything, reach out to me, and I can help in any way I can. And either way, man, I hope you're playing for my Roughnecks next year, and I can really root for you then. But no matter what, I'll be going for your success, bro. So
great. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Thank you, Shane. Good luck, man.
All right. Thanks.